who's on the line.
Yeah, right. Sure. Sure.
Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, Darrell Waltrip,
Exotica,
Neil
great
Bonnet,
phone call.
Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip. Here it is.
We're back under green. That Bodine's incredible. Give him an inch, and he'll make a phone call. 294 laps are complete as we're back under green, and look at this. Up goes Ricky Rudd on the outside in that Chevrolet. The Waddell Wilson motor hauls him down the backstretch, and he pulls around Rusty Wallace to retake the lead.
Virginia driver eligible for the pole bonus in Jeff Bodine's old car out in front.
Earnhardt lies third. Like to place a phone call to Ricky Rudd right now and ask him how he thinks things are going today. Here he is in the back straightaway in car number 5. And as you get this view as the field limbers down at a turn number 3, Robbie Moroso, his car number 20, back in the pack after an early altercation in today's race. He's the only of one of the rookies running for Winston Rookie of the Year honors that made the field. And he's gaining some very valuable experience out of here. He's sure finding out it isn't like running in the Saturday show. Meanwhile, up in front, look at Earnhardt work over Rusty Wallace at turn number 3. This is a grand race, Chris.
Really, you know who a sleeper is in this race, Ken? It's Bill Elliott. Closing and closer and closer to the front now.
He's running fifth right now.
Running fifth and staying with the leader. The race is a long way from being over. It's got 103 laps to go.
George and Mildred are down there in Atlanta. Hope you're feeling well, Miss Elliott, as your son just keeps on picking away at this thing, and he just watches them out and stays away. That's actually what he is doing is a Waltrip kind of race. He is letting everybody else do the racing and beating up, and he's kept his car clean, and there's still 102 laps remaining to decide this one.
2 laps, Ken, before we find out if this guy may have just made $1/3 million pit stop. That's how much money that Ricky Rudd can walk out of here with today if he wins the race from the pole. Look at the lead. He's just running away from what was the battle for the lead is now the battle for second place. Jeff Bodine, you talked a moment ago about the drop-off in the tires and about how long it takes before those tires give up. How soon will we know if Rudd is that much better than everybody else?
Watch and see. We don't know. He looks awful good right now. I mean, what a difference a pit stop can make. He was falling back. He couldn't keep up with the front cars. Now he's pulling away from him. But that car right there, number 3, zeroing in on that 5 car. He did that a lot last year when I was in the 5. So I know Rudd's in there saying, "Come on, baby, get going," because he doesn't want Earnhardt to get up there and have to race with him, because right now he's running his line. He can do whatever he wants out there. Put the car wherever he wants to make it go as good as it can and save those tires. If Earnhardt gets up behind him, he's going to have to start doing some other things, maybe to keep him behind, overwork the tires, and then he could get some serious trouble. The tires get hot and go away.
As we watch the leader continue to hold that advantage that he's built, let's go down to Steve Burns on pit road.
With Waddell Wilson, the crew chief. Waddell, Ricky took off like a shot on the restart. What'd you guys do to the car?
Well, the car's pretty good with new tires on the restart, but I'd like to still change the sway bar and a couple of springs. You know, it's our first time together here at Richmond, and we didn't hit the chassis like we'd like to. But, you know, we'll get better as time goes on.
Can you go the distance on gas?
Yes, we can make it on fuel. That's not a problem, I don't think, for anyone.
Everybody on pit road is saying they can go the distance.
Few people I respect as much as Waddell Wilson. He is something. He's going to make 2 or 3 more adjustments. Here's the battle for third. Excuse me, Chris. The battle for third begins to develop as you watch car number 6 and number 9, Bill Elliott, beginning to roll his way up. He's a little further back. You see the number 6 and the 27. Here's the 6th car in the 4th position. Then a lap car. And Elliott keeps on trucking. He keeps moving up, although Elliott is now being put under some pressure from Morgan Shepherd. There they are in turn 4. See if we can... Here they are coming down the main straightaway. There are those 3 cars running up in front, and here is the 15 car of Morgan Shepherd, bottom of the racetrack. And that puts a dent in Elliott's hopes today. The Bud Moore Ford moves under the Melling Ford in the backside, and that is number 15, Morgan Shepherd up to 5th. Bill Elliott drops to 6th.
Would you believe, Ken, that Ricky Rudd's lead of 1 3/4 seconds is the largest lead held by anyone today? That's the kind of a race we've seen. Less than 2 seconds, and it's the biggest lead enjoyed by anyone out front. Anyone.
Morgan Shepherd in the 15 car? Well, he is beginning to turn the wick up. He's beginning to close in. He now is as fast as anything on the Speedway and is trying to find some running room to make up the difference between himself and Morgan Shepherd. Back with more shortly.
And as we take a look at it here, Cope has already spun and is bouncing off the wall. Now, where does Miller come from? Jeff, in a situation like this, are you... Ooh, boy, he hit hard, too, head on. Are you just playing dodge 'em cards out there? Do you have any idea whether the other guy's going to go?
No, you don't. You just hope you take a shot. You take your best guess, and you hope you guess right. We see a little fire underneath the 98 car, but they got that out okay. There's no problem there. But, boy, you just hope and pray that you make the right move, and sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
But it's, I mean, we always say a masterful piece of driving by Jeff Bodine as he dodged that incident. In reality, how many times do you just have your eyes closed trying to dodge down through there?
No, you don't close your eyes, but really, some fellas have a better instinct for where to go, and that's true. And so some fellas are better at missing those accidents. They're missing the car that's swerving down the straightaway. Poor Rick Wilson seems like he's having trouble missing those cars, but you get in that kind of a syndrome, a rut, it just seems like everything gets in front of you, and then you can go for years and years where nothing does.
Could instinct have gotten you past this? Would you have made the same move that Butch did?
Well, hopefully not. There goes my brother on the outside. He made the right move. Hopefully
that was the Bodine move.
The other Bodine would have made the same move.
We've got one more view of this, I believe, from the in-car camera. This is from a backstretch camera, and here you see a good view of what happened to Cope. He just lost the car off the turn, tried to correct it, and snapped back on him. That was actually the start of the mishap that ended here with both those cars heavily damaged as they ended up hitting nose to nose, and it's going to take a little while to clean that mess up. Cope's car not quite as badly crunched, I don't think, as Miller's, but this will take a little bit.
If you get high off of turn 2 like Derek did, and I even saw my brother in the background up pretty high, but he saved his car. There's a lot of loose rubber, chunks of rubber, dust, speedy dry that lays up there because no one runs there. And if you get up in that stuff off of turn 2, it just kind of sucks you right over to the wall like you saw Derek do.
Everybody talks about that being the toughest part of this racetrack. You've got basically a track that's 2/3 corner, and yet it's the exit out onto the straightaway that causes the problem. What is it about turn 2?
It's a tight cutback. Turn 4, actually that is just a big, long corner. You go down into turn 1, a sweeping entry, a long entry. It's hard to figure out where to let off the gas. It's such a long entry into 1. But when you get down into 1, you have to turn the car sharp and then come off of a very tight radius corner in turn 2. And that's where we have our trouble. We try to jump back in the gas hard to get that momentum down the back straightaway. And if you get out of line, just a little bit out of line, you can bump in that wall real easy.
You have something in common with Butch Miller, short track driver who came up through the ranks, tried to crack Winston Cup, paid all the dues that everybody has to do. This guy, Miller, has finally found a good ride with Travis Carter. We know Derek Cope's story, winning that miracle Daytona 500, but I got to believe that Butch Miller is going to be a man to contend with now that he's got a good ride.
Well, Butch really is. Travis puts a good car out, and he gets a lot of help from a lot of people, and that should be a good ride for Butch. Butch is a very talented race driver. Derek Cope is a very talented race driver, but it doesn't take long to find out how tough Winston Cup racing is for those real talented race drivers on short tracks all over the United States. Guys, I know you're listening. This is tough. It looks easy. I thought it was easy. I used to sit here and watch this television and sit in those grandstands and said, boy, anybody can do that. But it is the toughest type of racing in the world. Believe me, the cars are heavy. Tires are narrow and hard, under horsepowered for the weight. Aerodynamics is not like an Indy car or Formula One. They don't stick to the ground very good. They're hard to drive.
There's a man who has emerged as the leader, and to follow his progress, let's go back up topside and rejoin Ken's car.
You know what I thought Bodine was going to do, Chris? Because he's going to say, and for you folks listening at home, I will teach you how to drive. Call Meadowbrook, 1-800.
Dick Trickle has got some insulation here. His nearest contender, Rusty Wallace, has got 6 slower cars between Rusty and Trickle when this restart comes. Be interesting to watch.
Dick Trickle out in front for the first time today in the Kaylee Yarborough team car, number 66. New sponsor this year and new enthusiasm from a great veteran. You know, Dick Trickle's wife told me, she said that in the middle of the night, Trickle will wake up and start calling for changes on the car, for different changes and settings and so forth, and she says, it's all handled, it's taken care of, and he falls right back to sleep. Car number 66 did not pit this time. The others behind him did, hence the reason why Dick Trickle is in front as we get set for a go. We have a couple more laps at least before they're going to turn these cars loose. It may be 3 laps, so let's take this commercial break and we'll be back with more.
Have been paid by the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, makers of the Goodyear Eagle High Performance Street Radials, the best-selling performance tires in the world. Today's in-car camera was brought to you by Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Motor Oil, the high-quality motor oil for year-round engine protection. Long live your car with Phillips 66 Trop Arctic. Crown Central Petroleum Corporation and Task Fair Convenience Stores are the proud sponsors of Rob Moroso and car number 20, the Crown Extra Oldsmobile.
318 laps are complete. 1 lap, and we'll be going back to green. 319 as they come to the line now. Let's go quickly to Dave Despain.
We've got to hurry, but we've got to do this bit of business. Jeff Odine's got to leave, but they asked me to quickly write up a bill. It's $119,000 for the commercial. Give me that hotline card.
1-900-446-9287. Ken, Chris, call in. You can hear all these guys tell about how it was today in the race.
Thanks for coming, Jeff Bodine. Let's get back to Ken Squire.
Oh, he is a piece of work. As we get set on the restart, Trickle is on the point. Rusty Wallace in second. Ricky Rudd in third. Yeah, it's less expensive to keep Bodine in the race, isn't it, Chris? Here we are. Pace car is coming in. And let's see if Ricky Rudd can handle these front 2 automobiles in that Chevrolet that's running back there in third. Here's the break. They go 3 wide coming to the line. Still 3 wide going to turn. Neil Bonnet in the middle there. Kyle Petty downstairs. And getting pinned on the outside was Mark Martin. Front 3 are away. And look at Dick Trickle. He was extremely confident yesterday. Felt all morning we were over there hanging around in his truck. He says, you know, we can do it here. Well, so far he's been running out back, hiding on him. Now he's out in front, but in second spot, it is Rusty Wallace. And right behind him as we look at the lead from the guy up there on it.
You got to know Ricky Rudd's thinking about the bonus right now.
Looking out the backside, we got a real slam-bam going on for the position right behind him. Down to the inside goes car number 5, trying to work on Rusty Wallace. You can see them line up there. And going into the turn, it is Ricky Rudd down low in the Hendrick car. He's up into second place and closing on car number 66. Backside of the racetrack, Trickle's in front, Ricky Rudd in second, Rusty Wallace third, Mark Martin in fourth. Into turn 3. The number 5 car fades high, brings it back down, stays right in line, does red. Pontiac in first and Chevrolet in second, Pontiac in third. Let's go to Steve Burns in Dick Trickle's fifth.
With the car owner, Cale Yarborough. Cale, as a driver, you're used to being out front. Is it hard for you to sit here in the pits and watch it?
Well, yes, it is, but Dick's doing a fine job. We elected not to stop on that last caution flag. Our car seems to be running a little bit on used tires. But that 5 car looks awful strong now.
Cale, are you surprised your team is running this well?
Well, not really. We came together at the end of last season and came up with a Phillips 66 Trop Arctic sponsorship that's helping us out a lot. And I feel like we're going to be a team to be reckoned with before the year's over.
Thank you, Cale. Back up top.
Well, there's one thing about it. Yarborough and Trickle do see eye to eye. They're identical in height and identical in their determination as racers. Cale Yarborough now over there on the other side of the wall. It's grand to see him in the days of yore right here on this racetrack where he put on some great shows. Take a look at this spread, the interval over those front 3 cars. Look at Rudd, Chris, just walking away now from Rusty Wallace in that second spot. Dick Trickle in third, Dale Earnhardt. Number 3 is in fourth. And falling back some more is Trickle now as that 6 car moves around. Look at the 3 down low on the 66.
Wallace is closing on Rudd, however, for second, chasing down the leader. Oops, another crash.
Got a crash up in turn 4. Looping, it looks like Davey Allison in trouble here.
All alone.
Michael Waltrip had just pulled into the pits. Michael Waltrip won the Grand National race here yesterday after a lengthy delay because of rain.
Second spin there for Davey Allison.
Running back to the line, Kyle Petty trying to make up a lap and didn't get it done. Ricky Rudd stayed just in front of him as they crossed the stripe. So that is the 10th caution of the day. 328 laps are complete.
72 to go. And Ricky Rudd being breathed on heavily from behind by Rusty Wallace. Dale Earnhardt waiting in the wings there.
Ricky Rudd was the '84 winner. Rusty Wallace has won both the spring, the winter, and the fall race here at Richmond. Yeah, and here comes the leader onto pit road. Rudd is coming in. Kyle Petty pits, and the 66 comes in. It elects to take on some rubber here as we get ready for the shootout for the finish. Let's see what they're going to do on car number 5. 1 lap to green. Right side tires being strapped on car number 5.
4 tires.
All the way around now, from right to left.
He's one of only 5 cars on pit road. This is going to be some strategic maneuver.
12 cars in the lead lap. It's going to get really interesting at the end of this one, and the car to watch now will be this number 5 as he tries to slither up through traffic and not get collected by anybody on the racetrack. Davey Allison's 28. Back on pit road again. Pace car is coming in as the field jams for a start. Coming down, and it will be Rusty Wallace up in front, Dale Earnhardt in second, Mark Martin in third, Bill Elliott up to fourth, Morgan Shepherd in fifth as they go into the first turn.
Barry Dodson, who's the crew chief for Rusty Wallace, told me that they tried the tires that they got off Harry Gant's car. The tires had 4 laps on them, slightly scuffed. They didn't work too well. They've gone back now to sticker tires, new tires on the car of Rusty Wallace, and that appears to be working.
What I'd like to know is who ordered that pit stop for Ricky Rudd? Did Ricky want it, or did Waddell Wilson order it? It'd be interesting to find out who's planning the strategy here.
Back straight away. There you see we've got trouble in turn 2. Cars spinning and sliding out of turn 2.
Shared a little again.
Alan Kowicki slowing down and getting around, as well as Phil Parsons. Caution is on the track. That's number 11 today. 332 laps down. 400 laps the distance. It's been a tremendous race, but it is so cold, no one can get a bite on this track, and the cars keep skittering out from underneath drivers and sending them spinning here.
There you can see Chad Little. He's had a tough day today in that number 19 car.
Dave Marcus is 71 on the bottom of the racetrack, just missing disaster there.
He's to sunny California, Ken.
Ricky Rudd's gamble on the pit stop almost proved to be a double gamble. He just missed that spinning car. Had he stayed out, he'd have been ahead of it, but because he pitted and was at the tail end of the lead pack there, he was right in the thick of that, and it was a very close call. You'll see it right here. We'll see Rudd in the yellow and white. He'll be coming from the right side of your screen. There's the 19 spinning. Zing, there goes Rudd just getting by, and we talked about the $350,000 pit stop earlier. That could have been a $350,000 crash.
He dodged a shotgun blast on that one.
That's right. Rusty Wallace is out in front with Dale Earnhardt, one of his arch rivals, right on his back bumper as they come down to the next restart. How many green flags we've seen today?
Pace cars in. They will have completed 334 when they get green. Ricky Rudd is up into the 7th spot in the restart. Here's the break. Out in front goes the 27 car. Earnhardt eases around Waltrip.
Spinning out now.
Story is back here in car number 5. Underneath Schrader goes Rudd. Picks picks up a spot. Moves from 7th into 6th. Rudd closing. Remember, he's looking for a $220,000 bonus. Rudd goes to the inside in the 4 to Morgan Shepherd. Shepherd draws just about a half car length away. And you can see that the front end of car number 5 shows a rumple or two.
That's right. He's running awfully deep behind his opposition. He's getting a little bit desperate, I think, at this point in the race. He's coming awfully close to the cars in front.
Backside of the racetrack. Around Morgan Shepherd goes Ricky Rudd. Closes up on car number 9. Mixed up in all of that is that car number 90.
Ernie Irvan following Bill Elliott now through traffic.
Around Shepherd goes Rudd. He takes over 5th and closes on Elliott. Bill Elliott's number 9 to the inside. Goes the Chevrolet on the 4 to Bill Elliott. Just exploding through the field. Moving up to 4th. Elliott drops to 5th. Ricky Rudd at number 5. Looking for that ultimate payoff in stock car racing. $220,400 in the skins game put up by Unical. $7,600 a race until someone wins the pole and the event.
And Rudd's, whatever they did to Rudd's car besides change tires, looks like it's working magic for that machine.
60 laps to go. 60 to go. Rudd, here are the leaders. Here is Rusty Wallace up in front. Dale Earnhardt in 2nd. Mark Martin in 3rd. And that is where the rub is going to be for Ricky Rudd today as he closes up on that trio.
That short back straightaway can contain the entire top 6 runners in today's race. That's how close this race has been.
11 cars remain in that lead lap. That front trio is Wallace, Earnhardt, Martin. All veterans, all champions. One slight miscue, and you would be very doubtful to see it among this trio. Then there is a lengthy margin between the number 6 car and the number 5 car. Perhaps we can show it to you, the difference between Mark Martin in 3rd and what Ricky Rudd has to make up. There are some lap cars in there. Look at Earnhardt close in again. Earnhardt trying for that lead. Wallace looking for that win.
There's an interval of 2 and 28/100 seconds between Mark Martin and Ricky Rudd. Less than 3 seconds for Rudd to obtain 3rd place and then take on the leader.
There's the front 3. Out of 4. And you see those 2 lap cars, Waltrip and Kyle Petty, and there is the 5 car, and it gives you a perspective, a sense of this 3/4 mile track of the difference between them.
2:18, 2 minutes and 2 and 18/100 seconds, and Rudd is gaining on the leaders.
344 laps complete. Is there time enough for Ricky Rudd? It would appear that way right now, but how soon will those tires begin to fade? That's the issue for Ricky Rudd.
He lost a little bit that time, 2.5 seconds. Rudd's going high on the track. He's coming up now on Kyle Petty. He's been a tough man to pass so far on this racetrack.
Of course, what Rudd is looking for is one more caution. He'd love that.
Chris Economaki, we have the answer about the pit stop. Waddell Wilson wanted Ricky Rudd to come in. They did, in fact, take a gamble. They said they can take off on new tires, but cannot run that well on scuff tires. They're hoping the other leaders would follow them in the pits, and they did not.
Pretty slick strategy there.
Could be the difference when this one's over. Now the 5 car, Ricky Rudd, has moved around Kyle Petty in the 42. He has one more lap car that is running just a lap down and strong. 17 car of Waltrip to deal with, and then he'll have about a second and a half to make up on these front 3 of Wallace, Earnhardt, and Martin. 17 lead changes among 7 drivers. TBS bringing you live flag-to-flag coverage of the Pontiac Excitement 400 from Richmond. Our next broadcast, Memorial Day, the race, the Coca-Cola 600 from the Great Charlotte Motor Speedway. Don't miss it here on TBS.
50 laps to go.
front three still locked together. Wallace, Earnhardt, Martin. Interval. Closing up a little, isn't it, Chris?
Well, we'll check on our watch right now as they come by. Here's Wallace, Earnhardt, and Martin as we start our watch. And Rudd, 2.6 seconds. He's lost a little bit there. 2.6 seconds, and it seems to be holding at that interval. Rudd is going to have to find a little bit more if he wants that bonus.
Car number 9, Bill Elliott. And number 15, Morgan Shepherd. 5th and 6th. Morgan's run an outstanding race. Both of these drivers have been playing that waiting game, knowing that there'd be hand grenades all over this place. This would be a minefield, and it has been. It's exploded on 11 different occasions. Caught drivers, they've waited it out. Now they're ready to turn it up. Into the final 50 laps to decide it all in the Pontiac Excitement 400 from Richmond. Should be a dandy finish.
Is well underway, and the proof of the pudding, as they say, is on the watch. Let's look at the fastest lap of the day. Ricky Rudd turned 119.22 very early in the race, and then ran exactly the same speed just before he made that pit stop. When Waddell Wilson gambled, brought him in, put 4 tires on. He's gone back out, and the watch now shows 22.97, 117.5 miles an hour, almost 2 miles an hour slower on the new rubber. It hasn't paid off. He's not gaining any ground. Let's update the story with the guys up top, Ken and Chris.
Well, the story right now is Rusty Wallace leading this event, looking for his 17th Winston Cup victory, 3rd in a row on this track. But he's feeling tremendous pressure from number 3, Dale Earnhardt, and number 6, Mark Martin. These 3 continue to duke it out for the front position. And behind those 3, the next door, here comes Martin down to the inside. The 6th car going up under number 3. That is Mark Martin making a move out of turn number 2, and it looks like he wants to go for it now.
It's a break for Rusty Wallace up front that Dale Earnhardt is so concerned with Mark Martin.
Getting about a 5-car length advantage is Rusty Wallace. To the outside goes Wallace. And Earnhardt closes the door. Big time.
That's right. Mark Martin is finding out all about this circuit here in the South. He's used to the ASA racing in the Midwest. Mark Martin is going to win one of these days. Today may very well be the day, but he's going to have to deal with Earnhardt and then Wallace before he can take a checkered flag.
Won at Rockingham a year ago in the fall. Tremendous victory. He should have had at least 3 others, but there are no shoulds in life or in sports, and it came close for him. Now let's go back and take a look at that interval to the 4th place man. There you see that trio, and they seem to have stabilized for a second. Now let's wait, and there you see car number 5. What's the story here on number 5?
Well, he's 5 seconds down, but the problem is that he's bumped someone and wrinkled the hood, and the aerodynamic upset, I think, is slowing his lap time a little bit. If we could go in tight on number 5, you can see how that hood has been pushed back a little bit toward the windshield of Ricky Rudd's car that started on the pole, and it's the only one that can win that $220,400 bonus. There's the opening.
Steve Burns, what's the story on that?
Chris, we talked to Ricky Rudd's crew, and they said that he did, in fact, tag one of the cars on the back stretch from Chad Little, but they say it is not upsetting his car, that he's running just as fast as he was a while back.
Well, according to the clock, that is not the case at this point. He has slowed down a bit. Behind the car number 5 was the 15 and the 9, and the 15 has backed up Morgan Shepherd's car, so number 9, Bill Elliott, is in 5th, and Morgan Shepherd has fallen into the 6th position. Here's the 5 car that is running in 5th.
Cal Walker just passed Ricky Rudd.
So something is amiss on that car number 5.
That's right. He went from 2.5 seconds to 6 seconds behind Mark Martin.
Larry Pearson, 16, also running very slowly now with 366 laps complete. 366 down. Got a slow runner. That's Mickey Gibbs in the bottom of the track. He's coming off the pace as Rusty Wallace slips by, and a good battle developing for second once again. Here is Mark Martin using the bottom of the racetrack. Right down there against that yellow line in that 14-degree banking, and he whips that Roush car into second place. Earnhardt falls to 3rd. 367 complete. Earnhardt's not ready to give this one up. No white flag here. A surrender. He is willing to go all out now and try to just ride with Martin and get back after him in that last 20 laps or so.
Well, in order to beat Rusty Wallace, why, somebody's going to have to call on something.
Oh, he got a spin in the back straightaway.
Larry Pearson turning around, but he's on the grass, and there's no yellow yet. Going back on the track, and the race continues with 30 laps remaining.
23rd place car, Pearson back underway, 4 laps down. No caution. Number 6 draws away from the number 3. Martin draws away from Earnhardt in 2nd place. Earnhardt in 3rd, and Wallace continues to build on his advantage.
And now Mark Martin is starting to close the gap on Rusty Wallace.
Be an interesting situation if we get down to that last 10 laps and Martin can make up enough time, and I think he has the bit in his mouth now.
Wallace is...
Jack Roush has taken away the bridle and said just run for it.
Wallace is facing traffic. There's 4 slower cars directly in front of him. 2 of them side by side in front of him, and here comes Mark Martin.
There's Wallace getting almost pinned in. Mike Alexander driving that Bobby Allison car. He's been doing an excellent job today. He is running, I believe, just a lap down in 16th in that new Ray Bestis car. There's one of the oldest sponsors in NASCAR. Back in again.
That's right. They were the ones that were instrumental in financing the construction of Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania. They provided the money to build a test track, and it turned out to be Pocono International Raceway.
Here you see Martin in the number 6. Let's check the interval. He is in 2nd spot, and we'll check the interval between first place man, Rusty Wallace, and Martin in 2nd. Pontiac 1st, Ford in 2nd. How about it, Chris?
1 and 19/100 seconds between the 1st and 2nd place cars, Rusty Wallace and Mark Martin. We'll get it next time around to see if Mr. Martin is chipping away.
Alexander going a lap down again to Martin. That'll put him 2 down. Showing 11 cars in the lead lap as we prepare to decide this one. Let me review for you who they are.
1 and 16/100 seconds. He's knocked 3 100ths off, did Mark Martin on that last time around, gaining on Rusty Wallace.
There's Earnhardt in 3rd, also lapping Mike Alexander. 4th spot is Ricky Rudd. 5th is Elliott. 6th is Morgan Shepherd. 7th is Dick Trickle. 8th is Brett Bodine. And 9th is Jimmy Spencer. 10th is Ken Schrader. 11th Sterling Marlin.
1 and 3/100 seconds, and Mark Martin is on the run.
1 lap down in 12th. Darrell Waltrip. 13th is Kyle Petty. 14th is Ernie Irvin. 2 laps down in 15th, Mickey Gibbs. 50,000 fans. Just about frozen solid, but enjoying every moment of the race.
And half a second between Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace as the Ford driver from Batesville, Arkansas, closes on the Missouri man.
24 laps to go. It's building for a finish. Here's Sterling Marlin going down a lap. Sterling Marlin, the 11th place car, has gone down to the 1st and 2nd place machines. That leaves 10 cars in the lead lap. Schrader, the man of the bubble.
And now Rusty Wallace's mirror is full of Mark Martin.
There you see the difference as they lap Dave Marcus. It's about 3 car lengths.
And everyone has forgotten about Ricky Rudd.
We'll be back with more of the exciting Pontiac Excitement 400 in a moment.
The engineers who created the Grand Prix endowed it with a fully independent suspension, a powerful fuel-injected V6.
Just had another caution flag thrown because Larry Pearson blew a tire coming down the main straightaway, was not in contact with anything, but he has brought out a caution flag. That gets us up to number 12, and we had a situation developing where Mark Martin had closed to within a car length of Rusty Wallace, and we were anticipating a flat-out run for the finish. There are 383 laps complete. Let's see if anybody's going to gamble on coming in. They all are. Wallace is in. Martin is in. Earnhardt is in. Let's go to the pits and see what happens here.
Mark Martin's brought it in. They're changing outside tires. I believe Robin Pemberton gave the command to change just 2 tires to see if they can get back out. Charlie Harvey.
They'll change 4 tires on number 27. I was all set to talk with Jimmy Maycar, but he is very busy now handling the air wrench on the tire change. They changed all 4 tires on number 27 and got Rusty Wallace underway.
Wallace out. Martin is out. Here comes the 3 back into it again. What a finish we are building for today. And let's not discount Ricky Rudd. You know how hot he is when they come out after these pit stops and had a chance to put on a couple of tires. He could get that bonus. Let's see what happens.
You know, you never know how the car's going to perform when they've been worked on, but Mark Martin only took 2 tires, and it looked as though Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace each got 4 tires. There's 15 laps to go. There'll be about 13 to go once the green flag waves. It should be a driving finish.
First man out was Mark Martin. He will have the lead in number 6. You're riding with Robbie Moroso as he's looking at the back end of car number 7, Alan Kulwicki's front collapsed rear trunk.
You know what could really mix things up are these slower cars that are going to be alongside the leaders. The leaders will have the outside lane, and the cars that are a lap down will be on the inside lane, and they could be the spoilers for the finish today.
Well, you get an idea of what these drivers are looking at on this racetrack with that sun glaring off those hoods through those stained windshields as we get ready for a go. Tough visibility out there for Moroso in the Crown car and for Dick Trickle as well. Getting ready to take green, I believe, next time by, which would be lap 386, leaving 14 laps of potential green flag racing with number 6, Martin up front, Wallace in 2nd, Earnhardt in 3rd, Ricky Rudd in 4th, Bill Elliott in 5th, Brett Bodine in 6th, and Trickle in 7th as they get ready to go. All in the lead lap. Also in that lead lap, Morgan Shepherd in 8th, Jimmy Spencer in 9th, Ken Schrader in 10th. Those are the cars in the lead lap as we get set to settle this one here on TBS. It has been something right from the outset. Biggest lead of the day, a second, and what, a quarter or 3/4? Which did you have, Chris?
It was just under 2 seconds, yeah.
All right, they're getting set for the start. Pace car is coming in.
Here it is.
This is it. 14 laps to go. 10 cars in the lead lap. Getting a quick jump. It's car number 6. Mark Martin is out in front. Rusty Wallace fades the inside, cuts off Earnhardt as he tried to come up the bottom of the racetrack.
The only advantage Martin got by changing 2 tires was that little bit there. If he had 4 tires, his car would be handling better. Let's see what the 4 fresh tire cars can do behind him, but Martin is pulling away.
Martin pulling away with the Ford. Pontiac in 2nd, Chevrolet in 3rd. Driving gingerly down into turn number 1 as they try to get the heat back up in the rubber. Mark Martin drawing into the backstretch with a 3-car length advantage. We've seen him do it before and then fall back into the clutches of that Pontiac and that Chevrolet that are now 2nd and 3rd.
Interesting gamble on the pit stops. The Roush team elected to just take 2 tires. As a result, they got track position. Not only did Wallace and Earnhardt take 4, but Ricky Rudd also has 4 fresh tires. So the 3 drivers in pursuit all have fresh rubber, but the guy who's pulling away is the guy who only took 2.
Rusty Wallace in 2nd spot has said that on the end of a race, at the finish of a race, you want to come off the 4th turn on the final lap with the tires on fire.
10 laps to go.
Let's see what's going to happen with 10 to go. Who is going to be on fire at the end of this one? Steve Burns.
With crew chief Robin Pemberton. Robin, everybody changed 4 tires. You changed 2. Why?
Well, we had to take a gamble. We're good in the long run. The car's really too tight to run in the short run. It may or may not work out for us, but track position with 10, 15 laps to go is really important.
Robert, are you as nervous about this win as you were the very first one?
I'm happy all the time about everything we do. We're just trying real hard.
8 laps to go. Earnhardt moves to the inside on Wallace in the main straightaway as he tries to come up through for 2nd. And they touch. And Wallace goes high as Earnhardt collected a piece of Rusty Wallace. Earnhardt into 2nd. Rudd goes into 3rd. Crowd on their feet. Meanwhile, drawing away. Wallace fading all the way back into 5th or 6th. Wallace to 6th. Trickle up to 5th.
How can they stay friends?
Test racing. Martin stays in front. 10-car length advantage. Ricky Rudd in the 5-car closes in on Earnhardt. Friendships are over. Final laps. The money's down. It's at stake. 394 complete. Mark Martin continues to build a little bit of an advantage. Just a small cushion as we get to the end of it. It's on to Rockingham for these Winston Cup cars next. And they'll have some stories to tell after Richmond International Raceway here live on TBS, the Pontiac Excitement 400. 5 laps to go this time by. Martin in front and Earnhardt is closing. Now Earnhardt begins to draw him up.
1 and 12/100 seconds separate the leader from his nearest pursuer, Dale Earnhardt.
Off turn 2, Martin gets a jump and he pulls away again. There you see the interval between first and second place man. Car number 3, Earnhardt in second. There's that leader out of turn 4, and here comes in hot pursuit Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd.
1 and 6/100 seconds. Earnhardt closed by 6/100ths of a second that last time around.
Elliott's 4th, Dick Trickle 5th. Wall is falling back after he and Earnhardt were in contact. 7th is Morgan Shepherd, 8th is Brett Bodine, 9th Jimmy Spencer, 10th Ken Schrader. Laps running down. Mark Martin, who won his first Winston Cup race, Rockingham, North Carolina, at the Rock a year ago, actually this past November. Here he is looking for win number 2. And here's that second place man, number 3, Earnhardt, still trying to close it up.
As Mark crosses the start-finish right this time, he'll get the 2 laps to go signal. And here comes Earnhardt.
Earnhardt still closing up here at the finish. He fell back, and turn number 2 seems to be his Achilles heel. Down for the finish this afternoon. White flag next time around for the leader. And it is the Ford being driven by Mark Martin out of Arkansas that is staying up in front. Everybody harkens back to just a week ago when it looked like Earnhardt had it all locked up. And then, last corner, last lap, Dale Earnhardt had to settle out of the win place and show. Final lap here, the Pontiac Excitement 400. Mark Martin striving. He's been the strong car in the final day of practice yesterday. He's coming to the line. He is the strongest car of the day in the Pontiac Excitement 400. Mark Martin has won his second Winston Cup race. He brought it home. He put it to work hard when he needed to, and they are successful. The Jack Roush team takes their second career victory.
97/100ths of a second. The interval. Jack Roush is in Miami with his GTO cars for the race down there. I wonder if somebody's on the phone with him now.
Well, he was here this morning. I had a brief talk with him, and he was telling me early this morning at this track that as we watch the other cars coming in, here is the number 27 and the 3-car coming in. Here's Earnhardt coming in, and Rusty Wallace, after they did their bump and grind up here on turn number 2. We're going to get back to get a word with that Jack Roush organization. They thought they had the right thing working to make that motor detonate properly on a cold day. They sure did it.
With the victorious Mark Martin. Mark, on that last pit stop, everybody elected to take 4 tires except for your team, and it really paid off.
My guys, the crew won, the Folgers team just won the race for me right there. We had a fast car all day, and we seemed to stay behind, or couldn't make those last 2 passes on Dale or Rusty or whoever it might be, and we just couldn't quite get to the front, and it's a great way to start the year off, Steve Mule and Robin Pimpleton and Jack Roush, and for Folgers and Valvoline, this is the way to do it.
What about that? Mark, it took you a while to get that first victory, but not too long to get win number 2.
Oh, it was great. Like I say, they made a brilliant decision there, got me out front. That's where we needed to be, and the car would fly. I mean, we took 2 tires on, took some wedge out, and it would just absolutely fly. I could have run faster than I was running.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark.
Today, the space.
Let's remember that that's Mark's second trip to victory lane this weekend. Yesterday, he went sliding in there with the front end all bashed up after he ran into those pilings at the end of the pit wall. Today, a much happier trip to victory lane. A consolation prize and a small one indeed for Ricky Rudd. Fastest lap of the day, 119.22 miles an hour, and everybody on the crew gets the Timex Speed Track for Ricky's driving performance. Let's go see what we can find out now about that battle for second and third.
Here's Dale Earnhardt just explaining to Cecil Gordon and Richard Childress what took place, what did take place on the track. Well, we did good. You know, it's a backup car, it's a Speedway car, so we're really happy to come out second. You know, we got the bum with Rusty there a little bit, and I got under him, and you know, he tried to shut me off going in one, and I didn't give. I stayed down, and you know, he cut down, and it got into him, and you know, if he'd just give me a little room, we'd have raced on through there. But you know, I hate it. I hope he's not too mad. You know, I think he'll be all right by next week, maybe.
Dale Earnhardt explaining what happened up in turn one between the Earnhardt car and the Rusty Wallace car. A final look at today's Pontiac Excitement 400 from the Richmond International Raceway coming up in a moment. So stay with us as the celebration continues for Arkansas's Mark Martin here at Richmond. All right, look at the final standings. Thank you, Dave Despain, here today. And as you look at the final standings of the top 10 and the celebration continues for Mark Martin, it is time to bring up something Jack Roush has said. He says the key isn't cars, the key is people. And a friend of ours, Lula Rosa, has recently said, the man to be reckoned with in the 90s is Jack Roush. He ain't out hunting or fishing or golfing. He lives and breathes racing, and he breathes some life into this car here at Richmond that gave Mark Martin his second Winston Cup victory. Thank you for being with us today.
8 races this year. Let's hear from Derek Coe.
Derek, what kind of race will you run on a cold